Welcome to this special deep dive. We're getting into the legal side of artificial intelligence today.
Yeah, it's a huge topic.
Absolutely. And if you're listening, you're probably involved in tech somehow, maybe as an enthusiast, maybe professionally. You're definitely seeing AI everywhere.
Right. It's in the tools we use, the way companies are thinking. It's unavoidable.
So our goal here is to cut through some of that complexity, look at the legal stuff, liability, IP rules, and just highlight what you really need to know.
Exactly. We've looked at a lot of sources,
Yeah.
and they all kind of point to the same thing.
Yeah.
The law is running hard to keep up with AI.
Right.
So we want to pull out the key legal bits, give you a clear picture. Liability, intellectual property, regulations, what's actually happening.
Think of this as your shortcut, navigating the legal maze of AI. What are people talking about? What's changing? And, why does it matter to you?
Let's dive in.
Okay, so the fundamental challenge. It really seems like we're trying to use old maps for new territory, doesn't it? Fitting AI into laws written way before it existed.
That's a great way to put it. Our traditional legal ideas, liability, who owns what, how we regulate things,
Yeah.
they just weren't built for AI systems. Not the sophisticated autonomous ones we see now.
Yeah.
So these old legal concepts are really being stretched, challenged by how AI actually works.
And AI is different, isn't it? It's complex, it can act on its own to some degree. And then there's that black box thing where we don't always know why it did what it did. That must make proving basic legal stuff like, was someone at fault? Was there a defect? Really, really hard.
It creates huge hurdles. Absolutely. If an AI causes harm, figuring out the exact reason, well, it's tough. Was it a bad design from the start?
Or the data it learned from.
Exactly. Or maybe some weird behavior that just emerged as it learned. That black box issue makes it super difficult to show clear cause and effect, which the law usually demands for liability.
And it's not just one person involved either. You've got the developer, maybe a company providing it as a service, whoever deploys it, the end user.
Right.
So if something goes wrong, figuring out who pays feels like a legal headache waiting to happen.
It really is. The whole AI lifecycle.
Yeah.
It's a network of players.
Yeah.
And figuring out responsibility, that's a massive legal debate right now.
Yeah.
Was the developer negligent?
Did the provider not put in enough safety checks?
Was it just risky to use the AI in that specific situation?
Yeah.
Or did the user do something weird with it? These are the questions popping up everywhere.
And the fact that AI keeps learning after it's out there, that adds another twist, right? How can you blame someone for something the AI did later if its behavior changed in ways nobody predicted?
That's a critical point. It hits right at the core of traditional legal thinking. Because AI learns, it changes. Its actions might become, well, unpredictable, at least based on how it started.
Yeah.
So that really challenges the legal idea of foreseeability. Could you reasonably expect this outcome? How could a developer be liable for something they couldn't have anticipated because the AI learned and adapted?
It makes me think of deepfakes. You know those AI-generated videos or audio clips that look totally real but aren't?
Oh, yeah.
How do old laws about, say, defamation or fraud even handle that? It's getting so hard to tell what's real anymore.
Deepfakes are a perfect example of this tension. They show how AI can create incredibly realistic fake stuff, and detecting it is, well, really hard. And that has huge implications for enforcing laws. Defamation, copyright, even crime. How do you prosecute someone for spreading a fake video if you can't easily prove who made it or where it started?
Okay, so traditional liability rules are clearly under pressure. What's emerging? What new ways are we seeing to handle this?
Well, a really big development is happening in the EU. They've got this new Product Liability Directive, the new PLD.
Okay.
And what's really key is that it explicitly says software and AI systems are products covered by these rules.
Ah, so no ambiguity there.
Right. And maybe even more important, it brings in the idea of strict liability in some cases.
Strict liability. Okay, refresh my memory. That means if a faulty AI causes harm, you don't necessarily have to prove the developer was negligent, just that the AI was defective and caused the damage.
You got it. Strict liability shifts the focus. It's less about proving fault and more about showing a defective product led to harm. The new PLD kind of acknowledges how complex AI is.
Right.
And how hard it can be for someone hurt by it to prove negligence in the old way.
That feels like a pretty big shift. Does it change anything else, like who can be held responsible or what kind of harm counts?
Yes, it does. The new PLD looks beyond just when the AI first hits the market. If the maker still has some control, maybe through software updates or influencing how the AI learns, they could still be on the hook for problems that pop up later.
Interesting.
And also, if someone else modifies the AI substantially after it's released and that change causes harm, they could be responsible too.
And the definition of harm itself, is it just physical injury or?
No, they've broadened that quite a bit. They recognize AI can impact people in different ways, so the new PLD explicitly includes harm to mental health.
Wow, okay.
And also irreversible data destruction. That's now considered damage that could lead to liability. It reflects a more modern view of AI's potential impact.
So if an AI system seriously messes with someone's mental health or wipes out critical data forever, that could actually be grounds for a liability claim in the EU now.
That's the direction things are heading with the new PLD. And what's really interesting, especially if you're watching AI policy, is how it connects directly to other AI rules, like the big one coming up, the EU AI Act.
How does that link work?
Well, when a court is trying to decide if an AI system was defective under this new PLD,
Yeah.
they have to look at whether the system followed mandatory safety rules from other regulations, including the AI Act.
Okay. So basically, if you didn't follow the AI Act's safety rules and someone gets hurt,
Right.
it makes it much harder to argue your AI wasn't defective.
Exactly. It creates a really clear incentive to comply with those AI-specific regulations.
Makes sense.
And beyond the new PLD, the EU is also talking about a separate AI liability directive.
Mm-hmm.
The idea there is to harmonize the rules even more for non-contractual liability. And importantly, make it a bit easier for people harmed by AI to actually prove their case, lessen the burden of proof.
It definitely sounds like the EU is trying to get ahead of the curve, setting clear boundaries for AI.
These certainly are. These are major efforts to adapt the law to AI's unique challenges and make sure there's a way to get compensation when things go wrong.
Okay, let's pivot a bit. Ownership. Intellectual property. Who owns stuff that AI helps create, or even creates itself? This feels like another minefield.
Oh, absolutely.
Why do we even start with copyright?
Copyright and AI-generated content.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a huge discussion point. The basic question is, can AI-made stuff even be copyrighted? And if yes, who owns it?
Because copyright law was always about human authors.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Most copyright laws were written with people in mind. So in the US, for example, the Copyright Office has been pretty firm. You need human creativity for copyright protection.
So if an AI just spits something out on its own?
No.
No copyright.
Generally, yes. If it's purely AI-generated, without significant human input more than just writing a prompt, the U.S. view is it's not copyrightable. It falls into the public domain.
But what if a person uses AI as a tool? Like I use an AI image generator, but then I take that image, edit it significantly, combine it with other things.
That's different. If there's substantial human creative input added to the AI output, then yes, the human-authored parts of that final work can't be copyrighted. The key is the human contribution.
So the human effort gets protected, not necessarily the raw AI output itself.
Exactly. It's about how AI fits into a human-led creative process. But, it's interesting because different countries are taking slightly different paths here.
Right. I heard the UK and China might see it differently.
They do. The UK actually has a category for computer-generated works in their copyright law.
Really?
Yeah. These works get a shorter copyright term, 50 years. And the author is considered the person who made the arrangements for the work to be created.
So the person who kind of set up the AI and kicked off the process could be the owner in the UK.
That's the implication, yes.
Yeah.
And China. Well, there was a recent court case involving an image made with Stable Diffusion. The Beijing Internet Court seemed willing to grant copyright based on how much human intellectual input went into guiding the AI.
So more focus on the human effort involved, even with the AI tool.
It seems that way. It just shows there's no single global answer yet on AI and copyright. It's fragmented.
So navigating this definitely requires knowing the local rules. What about patents? Can you patent an invention made by an AI? Can the AI be the inventor?
Well, patent law also seems pretty focused on humans right now. In the U.S., the Patent Office, the USPTO, says you need a significant contribution from a natural person for an AI-assisted invention to be patentable.
A natural person, so no AI inventors allowed.
Correct. They've explicitly said AI cannot be named as the sole inventor. There was that Thaler v. Vidal court case that confirmed this.
So even if an AI comes up with something truly novel and useful all by itself, no patent in the U.S. without significant human input on the inventive side?
That's the current stance. It really emphasizes human ingenuity. And the European Patent Office, the EPO, is similar. They see AI inventions as computer-implemented inventions.
Okay.
They need a technical aspect. You have to explain how it works in detail. And crucially, the inventor has to be a natural person there too.
This human focus in patent law.
Right.
It makes you wonder, right? If AI gets really good at inventing things, could this slow down innovation?
That's a really valid question.
Mm-hmm.
Some people argue that if AI starts generating genuinely novel stuff with minimal human help, sticking strictly to human inventorship might hinder protecting those breakthroughs. It's a point of debate.
So for people actually working with AI day-to-day, creating things, developing tech,
Yeah.
any practical advice on handling this IP stuff?
Definitely. A few key things. First, if you use generative AI tools, read the terms of service. Understand who owns what according to them.
Good point.
Second, document everything. Keep records of the human involvement in the creative or inventive process. That's crucial for copyright or patents.
Proof of human input.
Exactly. Third, contracts are key. If you're collaborating or commissioning work involving AI, get clear agreements up front about who owns the resulting IP.
Don't leave it ambiguous.
Definitely not. And finally, if you're hiring someone to do creative work and you're worried about them using AI without telling you, maybe consider putting clauses or warranties about AI use in the contract.
That's all really solid practical advice. Okay, let's switch gears again. Regulation. The rules governments are making. It sounds like a real patchwork quilt out there.
It really is a very diverse and fast-moving picture globally. But probably the biggest piece of legislation people are watching is the EU AI Act.
Right, that's the one trying to create a comprehensive framework for Europe.
Yeah, it's landmark stuff, and its core idea is this risk-based approach.
So it categorizes AI based on how risky it could be?
Exactly, 4 levels. Unacceptable, high, limited, and minimal risk. And the rules you have to follow depend entirely on which category your AI falls into.
What's unacceptable risk?
Things like AI for government social scoring or manipulating people in harmful ways, those are just banned outright.
Okay. And high risk, what kind of things are those and what are the requirements?
High-risk AI is stuff used in really critical areas. Think infrastructure, education, hiring decisions, law enforcement, medical devices, things that can seriously impact people's lives or rights.
Right.
And for these, there are strict requirements. You need thorough risk assessments, good data governance, transparency about how it works, human oversight, lots of checks and balances before you can use it.
What about the big AI models everyone's using now, like GPT-4, those general-purpose AIs? How do they fit in?
Good question. They fall under specific rules, too, mostly around transparency, letting people know they're interacting with AI, and also needing to comply with EU copyright law regarding the data they were trained on.
That copyright point seems important.
It is. And the EU AI Act isn't just for EU companies, right? It reaches further.
That's right. It has extraterritorial reach. If an AI system is used in the EU, the provider has to comply, even if they're based somewhere else, like the US or China.
Exactly. And the fines for not complying are potentially huge. It shows the EU is serious about wanting safe, ethical AI within its borders.
Okay, so that's the EU's big move. What else is happening internationally? And the OECD has principles, I think.
Yes, the OECD AI principles, they're not legally binding like the EU Act, but they're influential. They push for trustworthy AI that respects human rights and democracy. They were updated in 2024.
And lots of countries look to those?
As of mid-2023, over 70 countries said they'd aligned something like 1,000 different policy initiatives with these principles. So they definitely shape thinking globally.
What about the US? It seems more fragmented, less centralized.
That's a fair way to describe it. The U.S. approach has been a mix. Some federal initiatives like the AI Bill of Rights blueprint, executive orders, but policy can shift. We saw an executive order in January 2025 revoke a prior AI safety order.
So things can change depending on the administration.
Potentially, yes. There's talk about federal AI laws, but nothing comprehensive has passed yet. So what you're seeing is action at the state level.
Ah, so states are stepping in. What are they focusing on?
All sorts of things. Consumer protection, fighting deepfakes, especially around elections rules for how government uses AI, trying to prevent algorithmic bias and things like hiring.
Any examples?
Colorado passed the first really comprehensive state AI law, focusing on high-risk systems and consumer safety. Virginia, Texas, others are also looking into it.
But that means different rules in different states.
Exactly. That's the potential downside, a fragmented landscape for companies operate across the U.S.
And then there's China. Very different system, very different approach to tech generally.
Very different. China's approach is much more centralized, multi-layered. They're focused on aligning AI with national goals, information control, socialist values, but also pushing hard on innovation.
So control and innovation.
Right. They have specific regulations for things like online recommendation algorithms, deepfakes, they call it deep synthesis, and generative AI services, often requiring companies to register their algorithms and undergo security checks.
Control seems key there.
It's definitely a major factor. They also have ethical guidelines emphasizing socialist values and banning harmful content. And their big data privacy law, the PIPL, heavily influences how AI can use data. It's a distinct philosophy compared to the EU or US.
It's fascinating how different places are tackling the same tech with such different rulebooks.
It really highlights the different values, legal histories, and economic goals shaping AI governance around the world.
So as AI keeps accelerating, it seems like legal fights are just going to increase. What other challenges are bubbling up on this legal frontier?
We're definitely seeing more AI-related disputes. WIPO, the World Intellectual Property Organization, their mediation center, is handling more and more cases.
About what?
All sorts of things. Liability claims, fights over IP rights, infringement issues. It shows we need specialized ways to resolve these tech disputes.
And deepfakes again. It feels like the law just isn't ready for how easy it is to fake reality now.
It's a massive challenge. Existing laws against fraud or identity theft often struggle with the scale and sophistication of deepfakes. Technology for verification is improving, but it's not perfect.
So it needs both tech and legal solutions.
Absolutely. It'll likely be a combination. And another huge looming issue is AI training data.
The fact that these models are trained on massive amounts of data, often scraped from the web, including copyrighted stuff.
Exactly. Training AI on copyrighted material without permission, that raises fundamental questions. Is it copyright infringement? Does fair use or fair dealing apply? Who's responsible? The developer, the user?
Our current copyright laws weren't really built for systems that learn autonomously like this.
Not at all. So expect a lot more legal battles and debate around that. It's far from settled.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this up. It's clear the legal side of AI is anything but settled. It's moving fast, big changes are happening, defining responsibility, ownership, the rules of the road for AI.
Yeah, and the key thing for you, listen to this, is that these legal debates aren't just for lawyers. They're fundamental to how AI develops and how it impacts all of us.
Right.
Understanding these challenges, the new rules emerging,
Yeah.
it's going to be crucial, whether you're building AI, using it, or just living in a world full of it.
Hopefully this deep dive gave you a clearer map of those key legal territories being reshaped by AI. It is complex, no doubt, but there's a real effort to build frameworks that, protect people but also support innovation.
And we really encourage you to keep digging into these topics. The sources behind this discussion offer way more detailed, different viewpoints. Ask yourself, what's the biggest legal hurdle you see with AI? How do these changing laws affect your work or interests?
Think about that balance, too. Fostering innovation versus protecting people. It's a tightrope lawmakers and courts worldwide are walking right now.
Well said. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. It really is a journey of constant learning, isn't it? As AI changes, the laws governing it will have to keep changing too.